Welcome everybody. Today I bring to you another superhero from the Indian industry. The superhero, before I take his name, I can definitely say that he does not need an introduction. He's the one who pioneered electronic security in this country. Okay? Not today, not in this century, but in the previous century. All right. He started thinking about it at a time when people in the West thought that India was a country of snake charmers and did not need security. A poor country does not need security. This is one of the things which really got him into security. He said, how can somebody say this? All right. It's my privilege to introduce to you Pramoud Rao, the promoter and managing director of Zicom, which is the first company to be listed in the electronic security category in this country. I'm very sure there are hundreds of enterprises who have learned from him or for whom Zicom itself is a role model and they've built their companies around it. And there are thousands of people who have gone under his hands, who have worked for Zicom or otherwise look up towards him and really continue to live their lives. So welcome on board, Captain. Let's hear from you.
First of all, Atul, thank you for getting me on this show. You have been very gracious and generous, both in your praises. I honestly don't deserve it, but nevertheless, I must acknowledge it and thank you for getting me on this show. It will be my pleasure to talk to you and to the entire MSME segment because I also represent the same class of business. So over to you, Atul.
All right. And like many of us, Pramoud is the first generation entrepreneur. His father used to work for the Indian government, and so was his mother. His father was a technocrat, and his brother used to work with Bhabha Atomic Research Center. He has been a normal Indian who grew in the central suburbs of Mumbai, right? And then he started doing things. So let us hear from him, Pramoud, a few minutes on where you started off from and where did you get your first click or a break, I would say, into entrepreneurship. Yeah.
I was a very poor student. I never studied well. I used to just get very low passing marks. And somehow life continued and I went to the rhythm of life and I passed my college. And then I started, my first career was selling medicines to doctors. They call them medical representatives. So I was a medical rep. After that, I got into selling plastic bottles and all those things. So my first break was in 1988 when we were staying in BARC quarters and a friend of mine and me decided to start business. And we didn't have money. So we started with 5,000 rupees. 2.5 from my side, 2.5 from his side. And we ventured into the business of fax machines. In 1988, fax machines were like washing machines. They were big, huge. And the price was astronomical. It was 2 lakh rupees in those days. So I started my humble journey from there, not knowing what's in store for me. But I guess God and luck played a very important role in my life, besides my family, who also supported me. And then I ventured into many, many new things. One of the things I decided in my life very early on is to not be a copycat. Because the world is full of copycats. So you don't get recognized, you don't get noticed, and you don't score any brownie points by copying somebody else. So historically, all the businesses that I have done, and I will continue to do, and I'll continue to mentor, will be only in the space of disruption. So that's essentially a short overview about my genre, how I think, and what I do. I'm never afraid of failures, because I think failure and success are integral to each other. So that never worries me. Today, I call myself successfully failed. I have failed successfully. But nevertheless, I think, when you start with 5,000 rupees and nothing to lose after that.
Definitely. So they say failures are the pillars of success. And
Yes.
I wish we have every Indian becomes a failure like you.
Atul, I must tell you, see, from the time I started my business in 1988 till about 2015, I didn't know what a failure word was in my life. And sometimes something happens in your life, and that happened to me in Dubai. Oil prices came crashing down and my business went down. I never bought or sold oil, but that brought down my business. And after that, the next 7 years, I learned what I didn't learn in 20 years. So for
Awesome.
me, failure is a great thing to have in your life. Because trust me, Atul, when I say this to you, what you learn in failure, you never learn in success.
Awesome. 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 You just spoke about disruption. I want you to elaborate more about disruption. One, since you are a disruption champion. Second, my takeaway from here would be, how does one disrupt the market? It takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of design as well to disrupt.
Well, just simple two things. The first question you asked me was how do you plan disruption and how do you execute disruption? So I'll just explain in two simple ways about it. So disruption is not a planned action. It is a thought process of somebody. You know, like you have all the startups which have succeeded, they thought differently. So you need to have that in your blood, in your DNA, in your genre, that I am going to think differently. The world belongs to people who think differently. So that has to be within your body, within your system, within your thought process. And of course, you need to execute it. The second part is, we are entrepreneurs. The height of our ambition, the depth of our conviction, and the breadth of our confidence defines the disruption. So if my height of my ambition is very strong and I say I will make it, and my conviction is very deep, and my confidence is very breadth-wise, very strong, I think rest we can easily manage it. Having
Awesome.
said that, I think there are two or three very key fundamentals that we need to do when we do disruption. The first thing is there a need by the customer for this kind of services that I'm going to offer? Otherwise, many times we fantasize things and the customer doesn't want those things. So the first thing is there a need? The second thing is this need going to reduce the cost of the customer? If it is reducing cost, you're there. And third thing is, whatever services you're going to bring, is it going to create comfort and convenience? Is it going to bring my cost of operations down? Is it going to make me more productive? And last but not the least, is it going to put money in the customer's pocket and my pocket, both? So if it's a win-win, then you're putting money in the customer's pocket, also you're putting money in your pocket. If these principles are followed, I think businesses with disruptions will do very well. And that's what I have done all my life. I've always found that if these four parameters are matching, businesses succeed.
Awesome. So what was the first disruption that you brought to the Indian market?
You want to talk about security or before security?
Whichever, whichever. So the
Well,
idea is that the entrepreneur, he should take back home how to execute it.
actually, disruptions are, we can see in our daily life, but possibly we don't recognize it, or now we see it. And we ignore it. We may see something and we may still not know that this can cause disruption. I'll give you an example of that. I used to work for a plastic blow molding company, and I was a sales executive in the company. The company used to make huge 5-liter cans, and there was no demand for those cans. And the company was on strike because there was no work. So in those days, I had hair on my head, and I was taking bath with a glass bottle in my hand, and it fell from my hand and it broke. When it broke, I ran to my boss and I said, "Sir, why are we continuing to make those ugly 5 liter cans? Why can't we make small shampoo bottles?" So he said, "Who will buy it?" I said, "That you leave it to me. I'm in sales." So I went to Hindustan Lever. They used to make Clinic shampoo bottles. I went to Ponds. They used to make Pond's shampoo. I went to JK Helen Curtis. They used to make a shampoo called Tiara, and so on and so forth. I met many of these companies and I tried to sell the concept of PVC bottles instead of glass bottles. This was in 84, 85, and then India moved to PVC bottles instead of glass. So I think that was my first idea. What created that Eureka moment? The bottle falling from my hand. So then I started fax machine. That was, of course, not a disruption because it was a category which was non-existent. We bought the category. We became the biggest fax machine company. From 1988 to 1994, we became the biggest office automation company in the country. In 1994, I left that company, and because in 1993 bomb blast took place in Bombay. There was a series of blasts in Bombay, and that I said security is going to be the next big industry. So without knowing what a camera looked like, I got into the category and sold that business to Schneider in 2010. Around 1994, 1995, we became the first listed company to be on the stock exchange. We were the first organized player in the security industry. We were the first company to put up the country's first command and control station. Then we put 100 Zicom stores trying to do retailing. It flopped. And there were many, like we did the first city surveillance project, Bombay city surveillance, Bangalore city surveillance, Gurgaon, Jaipur, Bharuch, a lot of city surveillance projects. So historically, our goal has been to do things where nobody likes to venture. The road is lonely, the road is scary, the road is uncertain, but it's fun.
Awesome. So you said you sold a part of your business to Schneider. Would it be okay for you to share in what price did you sell it?
Well, our revenues in those days, I'm talking of the year 2010, our revenues were around 195 crores. We were doing projects of electronic security, and that business was sold to Schneider for 225 crores. That was one portion of the business of Zicom. And 2010, we did this deal. 225 crore was the value. Post that, for 2 years, I was with Schneider as their security ambassador. And then in 2013, I came back to Zicom. And again, we did a major disruption at that time.
And what was this major disruption?
So when I went back to office after 24 long months, I was sitting with my team. They had no work and we were all worried what to do because the brand was with us, but there was no business with us. So I said, let's think. And then a Eureka movement came in our life again. So we said, if there is a hardware and the internet is getting popular, if we connect these two and we have a command station and we bring services there, we have a business model. So we launched a new company called SaaS, Security as a Service. That was again a pioneering effort by us. We were not very sure. We were having self-doubt about doing this business. So we consulted some consulting companies. And Atul, you will not believe this. All of them said, please don't do this business. But we still ventured into it. You know, the entrepreneur instinct and gut is very strong. And we again always like to go against the tide. So we did that. And today SaaS is a huge business. Almost all the manpower security companies and a lot of IT companies have got into the SaaS business. And I'm very proud that we pioneered this category also. And today this business has become a huge business because it saves the customers money. It provides him comfort and convenience. It is a disruption model because a lot of things get disrupted in the process. And the best part is the companies that are in SaaS business, their EBITDA margins are more than 50%.
Awesome.
It's a profitable business.
Right. So you've already spoken about disruption. I think one more thing which goes hand in hand is innovation. And you definitely brought in a lot of innovation to the way in which the business was conducted and now how it is conducted. So can you say a little bit more about what is the importance of innovation and how have you utilized in your businesses?
So very honestly, we did not create anything new. We just packaged it in a different way. We are not like the apples that we create some unique kind of products or something. We don't have a factory. Our factory is in the mind. Then we use other people to manufacture it for us. So innovation for me has always been to see that how will I make people's life safer? How will I make people's life more secure? How do we bring trust, confidence? Trust is a very important word in security. How do we create that trust in the consumer's mind? And how do we occupy his mind with the brand called Zicom? That has been our forte. And I guess we had our own share of success and failures. Nevertheless, as a brand, we stood out in the marketplace.
Awesome. So now you gave another word or another term, which is called share of the mind. So elaborate slightly more on how do you occupy somebody's mind?
You know, I, so that's a very interesting question. Um, our mind is cluttered. There is so much of information, good, bad, ugly, all kind of information is there. And in that mind, I need to find some space. So let's imagine, Atul, you call me for a party at your house or somewhere you are throwing a party. And I come there with a yellow shirt, red pant, orange hat, and very, very fancy outfit. You will look at me and you'll stare at me and say, what an idiot this guy is. How can he dress like this and come? So although you may have a different opinion about me, but you will never forget that day that I came in that dress and that attire that I met you. That is how to occupy customer's mind. You have to, if you want to occupy a customer's mind, the linear method will not work, because linear method there are hundreds and thousands of people who come there. The disruption model here is that you have to look different. So I came with a very fancy outfit, and you said you thought many things about me, but I definitely occupied your mind. So I'm giving you a very layman example of how to occupy people's mind. Now, when it came to brand Zicom, so we always said we will not do things which other people do. For example, I'll give a very small example. In 2006, 2007, we decided to launch our Zicom products, because previously we used to buy from Bosch, Honeywell and all. We said we'll launch our own products. Now, launching a product is a very interesting thing, but how to launch? So typical exhibition में participate करेंगे, road show करेंगे. मैं बोला यार वो सब लोग करते हैं, हम लोग अलग करना चाहिए कुछ. And possibly for the first time in the history of electronic security industry, we did a fashion show. Models who used to normally carry jewelry and watches were carrying cameras, access control system and smoke detectors in their hand. And we did 5 shows across the country. We involved the community of the security industry, like the consultants who specify our products. We got our customers and all those things, and it was a super hit show. Again, no, everybody who came will always remember this, that this was not a normal product launch. It was with one of the most beautiful women around you, a lot of ambience, a lot of good music, everything was there. So it was a lot of glamour and glitz there.
You can love me or hate me, but you can't ignore me. Awesome. So I think these 3 pieces definitely are the secrets of Zicom, right? Disruption, innovation, and occupying somebody's mind.
Yes, absolutely. I don't think there are any templates for success, although there are some principles don't change. Styles will change, but principles don't change. And each one has his own success sauce. These are my success sauce. I'm sure other people who will watch my show will have a different opinion on it. But nevertheless, I think life is all about learning, and we are WIP till we die.
Awesome.
So,
awesome.
I learn a lot from my drivers, from my office boys. I learned SOP from my office boy. Then I've got a guy called Mahesh who brings coffee to me. And every day he comes to my room sharp at 5 o'clock, and I look at my watch and I say it's 5. So I learned from him what is management of time. I learned from him what is SOP. So like that, everybody in your life will teach you something. Just imagine, Atul, if you pick up one good things from everybody, you don't have to go to any management college after that.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So now let us spend a couple of minutes in knowing who Pramoud Rao is. Pramoud as a person, not as uh, the the public figure.
Atul, I follow the 6 F's of life. Six
Okay.
F's.
Okay.
First F is I'm very focused in whatever I do.
Okay.
Your life is all about focus. The second F is I'm very flexible in my thinking and my approach. Because when you have too much of rigidity and when you have too many boundaries, you don't experience new things in your life. The third thing is I'm very fast in whatever I do, because everybody has a time limit in their life. The fourth thing is I have a lot of fun in what I do, because if it is no fun, then you are not going to enjoy what you're doing. And the fifth thing is I like to be fit in whatever I do, because a fit body will have a fit mind, and a fit mind will do all the right things. If all these five F's don't gel, then I use my sixth F. I just fish off from that place. So
Awesome.
that's my formula of 5 + 1 F's.
Perfect. So the fast piece I have definitely experienced. I think 2 days back, 3 days back, late in the evening, I think 11ish is when I pinged you, and I said I want to interview, and you said yes. And today also you were there very much in time. Thanks a lot. It's been really interesting to have this conversation with you. And there are some more interesting things that you do in life. So the fitness piece, I have seen some of your photographs. You missed the fashion piece here, huh? The seventh F. You
Thank you.
definitely you're definitely a fashion icon in security.
I think it's an attitude. It's not about how you want, because I realized many years back I was very obese, and I was and when I used to go to meet my customers, they used to not look at me at all. They used to, I think your self presence and your aura is very important in business. It's how you carry yourself, because I have seen customers take decision based on how you interact with them, how you come across, what's your self quality. So these things do matter. So,
Definitely they do.
and I've seen a lot of successful people who follow this.
And what is it that you do to keep yourself charged?
Well, I'm always on a cocaine high.
Okay.
So I am always, get up in the, I think if you eat the right food and you do some of the good things in life. So my passions in life are very simple. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do much on all those things. My passion is to do biking. I go for long distance biking. I have a huge bike, which is very high powered super bike. So we go long distance from Bombay to Bhutan, Nepal, all those places. We do biking. For me, biking helps me in two ways. Number one, it's my stress buster. And two, as we age, our reflexes slow down. It keeps slowing down as you age. But just imagine, Atul, we are biking. Let's say I'm going from Bombay to Udaipur, and I'm continuously on the bike. See my reflexes continuously, how good it becomes. So it gets charged up. So biking is one thing which I love to do, and I'm a biker from childhood. And the second thing I love to do is to go for gymming. I love fitness. So I do spend at least 1 hour a day, 7 days a week on fitness. So that's what I do. And of course, reading, watching movies, which everybody does, I do that, those stuff also. No credit on that. No credit on that front.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for all this. And a couple of words about Egrowth, a little bit that you know about us. How do you think this is going to help the Indian industry?
Well, Atul, when you told me about your company and you told me about the sector, I have also been I had a very humble beginning. I think the MSME sector today in this country is growing, is becoming more and more powerful because we employ millions of people. And I think we should also have a voice in the marketplace, like how CII, FICCI, ASSOCHAM has. I think we should also have a strong voice with the government. Second thing is, I feel there are lots of entrepreneurs out there who want to do well in their life. There are a lot of young entrepreneurs, and mentoring them, coaching them, giving them guidance, giving them the other view, I think is also something which you in Egrowth should take it up, because knowledge is all about sharing. Otherwise, one day we'll die and everything will go. I remember the famous sentence, the first 25 years of your life is all about learning. The next 25 years of your life is all about earning. And next 25 years of your life is all about returning. So people like me who have crossed their 50s and 60s, it's for us, it's all about returning. And I guess the MSME sector has many budding entrepreneurs out there who possibly through Egrowth can benefit, and they will always be thanking you rest of their life for creating their future.
Awesome. And we invite you, as I told you the other day, we invite you to be a mentor with Egrowth so that we can help you in returning, and we help the MSMEs in earning more and making better use of their lives.
Sure, Atul. My pleasure.
All right. Anything else before we complete the session?
No, Atul, I think my last closing remarks would be that the life we got is a gift by the life we got is a gift by the Lord. We need to value it, and we're very lucky that we are still alive, and we are lucky that we have an opportunity to do business. We're lucky that we have become entrepreneurs. Having said that, let's celebrate life. That's all I would say.
Thank you, and welcome to the celebration.
Thank you, Atul. Thank you for getting me on the show. I really value this interaction, and I hope I'm of some value to your listeners. God bless you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.